Hello, Ms. Kitzel here. I just want to give a shout out to everyone in my CD&E block. Say hello, Cookie. I am going to be reviewing Module 3 in this video and also previewing Module 4. There are 3 questions we researched in the previous module. They were, how is energy transferred from power plants to buildings? What are the limitations of our electrical grid system and what are some possible solutions? And what sources of energy are used the most in the US and worldwide? When you flip a switch to turn on a light, it closes a circuit that connects all the way back to the power plant that generates the electricity. The network of wires and power plants is called the electricity grid. Power plants are constantly converting other forms of energy into electrical energy. If more electrical energy is produced than is needed, it is wasted unless batteries or other methods are used to store the excess energy. Power plants that use windmills and solar energy depend on weather conditions, so they are unreliable unless they have batteries to store electrical energy when it is produced and release it in times of high demand. Power plants are not very efficient at generating electrical energy. Only approximately 30 to 40% of the input energy is converted into electricity. Energy is lost in the form of thermal energy, with wasted heat released both at the power plant and as electricity travels through wires. Long-distance wires operate at high voltages, as there is less heating and energy loss when voltage is higher. Transformers are devices that decrease the voltage in the high voltage lines to the lower voltage that is supplied to buildings in local neighborhoods. A smart grid can address inefficiencies by having energy storage both at the power plant and at the destination buildings. The smart grid uses electronics to monitor and optimize where energy is coming from based on availability and demand. One large-scale way to store energy without batteries is to pump water to a higher elevation when there is extra energy being produced, storing energy in the form of gravitational potential energy. The water can then be released to spin turbines and generate electrical energy when it is needed, just as you saw in the last PhET simulation we did in a previous week. In the future, batteries at people's homes could be a significant source of storage. For wind and water to be reliable and cost competitive, we need batteries that are 5 times cheaper and contain 5 times more storage than batteries do now. Finally, we learned about energy sources for generating electricity at power plants in Massachusetts, the United States, and globally. We saw that the United States and the vast majority of countries on Earth rely on fossil fuels for most of their electricity production. In Module 4, there are 2 main ideas we'll explore. Number 1, what are the different parts of the atom? This includes what is different about the structure of different atoms, and how do we represent atoms in pictures and writing? And number 2, how does the structure of an atom affect its stability, and how does this affect whether an atom is radioactive? During this module, we will first learn some historical background about scientists who study the structure of atoms and the meaning of radioactivity. You will then use your textbook to review the parts of the atom. You should already be somewhat familiar with this content from previous science classes. Finally, you will use a PhET simulation to investigate what makes an atom stable or unstable. And this simulation will run on any computer or phone, so you'll be able to play with it yourself. These screenshots from the simulation show 2 different isotopes of helium. Isotopes contain the same number of protons, but different numbers of neutrons. Notice that one of these is stable and one is unstable. Unstable atoms can break apart into smaller atoms, which is the concept behind nuclear fission.